Hello, welcome to Painting with Jasmine Rempel Art. I'm Jasmine and today I'm going to be making an iris bookmark. I have my supplies ready to go and I'll describe some of them now, and as I go along I will let you know what else I'm using. To start with, this is a 2x7 piece of Windsor Newton cold pressed 140-pound paper. I buy it in a block and I take out a sheet and cut the sheet down to size. I have adhered my watercolor paper onto a little canvas board with painter's tape, and I've used the bone press here to press down along my borders so that paint doesn't seep into the borders if any should touch the edges. And so that's ready to go. I have some brushes, two round brushes. One is a number 4 and one is a number 6, and they're both the Silver Black Velvet series, and I have a rigger brush here. The colors that I've chosen today, these ones are Windsor Newton, and I have a Sap Green. I've got a Cad Yellow Medium, and this is a Quinacridone Violet. The Ultramarine Blue I'm grabbing from my Daniel Smith palette here, simply because I'm out of the Windsor Newton, so I can't put any within here. I'll be taking it from this palette. Okay, so I started with a sketch. I already have a sketch on here, but I'm just going to go through it again so that you can see how to go about the sketch. Really, the top half of the bookmark is the actual flower, and the bottom half is part of the stem. Of course, it would be longer. It would be going off the page. There's lots of petals on an iris flower, and these ones are quite curvy, so the frontal petal here, I'm just kind of curving it around. There's going to be a little white poofy part right here that I will be saving. There are some petals that are going to come out and kind of go down here. And on the other side as well, there's going to be a little one coming out here and another little one in this area, a large one from the little, almost like a little ripple, coming up, curving, coming up again for a folded look, around, and to here. Now this is much darker than I typically draw my sketches on when I'm doing watercolor, but I'm doing this for your sake so that you can see what I'm drawing. Okay, and that's a back petal. Then, of course, we are going to have a stem coming right down the center. And from this stem is going to be coming a flower bud, and then a leaf. That is the sketch. And I'm going to stop for now because I've just heard my husband coming home, and that means he's brought some dinner. So I will be back to paint. All right, I'm going to put some water right into here, into this petal. And fill it up with water. I'm putting just enough water that it has a nice sheen to it, but not so much that it's making a puddle. Using the tip of my brush to get little areas here. And I'll turn this board so you can see some of that sheen that I'm looking at and looking for. I'm wanting to paint wet on wet, so I'm wetting the paper, and then I will add wet paint to it. Right, I'm reaching into my purple, Quinacridone Violet. I'm just going to touch the edges with that color and let it run. Inwards. Great. Just like that. I'll encourage it to go a little further. I cleaned my brush off first. And that way, as I move the paint upward, it is not as intense. Good. Now I'm reaching into my yellow. And I'm going to tap some yellow up at the top. And let that bleed down towards the purple. Nice. Good. Super. I'm going to do the same thing with these. I'm using my number 4 brush right now, but really mostly using the tip of the brush to add my water. Reaching into my violet. Bring that down into this petal right here. And bringing it upwards. Nice. Good. And then I'm reaching for the yellow again. And I'm going to finish it with the yellow. Super. All right. Other side, same thing. Up and around, and yellow. Nice. Okay. Now I'm going to head into this petal and just get my wet brush in there. Reach for my purple again. Diluting the purple a little with water. Carrying it down. I have cleaned my brush off and now it's basically fading. All right, into my yellow. Right in here. Next, I'll do the same thing in each petal. Now I'm going to reach into my Ultra Blue. Good. I'm going to mix some of the blue with some of the violet. Good. And now I'm going to take this violet blue color and paint this petal with that. And this time it's wet on dry. And put the yellow down at the end again, as I've been doing each time. Again, my blue with the violet. Good. Wet on dry. Bringing that in. This time I don't think I will meet it with the yellow, just for something a little different, and I'll get the straight violet. Put some right there. Pretty. All right, heading into the back. You might hear my cat chewing in this video. He has come into the art room. It's also the cat room, and he's chowing down right now. I would tell him to close his mouth while he chews, but you know cats. Well, that was my alarm. I had it set for 6:30 a.m., I thought. Rather, 6:30 p.m. I'm in British Columbia. Well, that's the time here. So needless to say, I didn't wake up on time today because I had set my alarm wrong. In the end, that was kind of nice to have some extra sleep. All right, and a little yellow. Okay. Now this area is dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my rigger brush and get some nice violet on it. Just going to do a little drawing on here. There we go. Maybe one more. Coming out that way. Great. And I'm going to dilute that a little and do the same right up in here. I felt that was thicker than I wanted it to be. I'll try again. There we go. Just a finer line. Good. And maybe a bit of the blue in this side. Just for something a little different. There we are. Transfer a bit of the blue over here as well. Nice. And there would be some line in the back. Perhaps a bit faded. So now I've wet my brush so that I wet my brush and went over my pigment so that it was more faded. Now this is a fold So I'm reaching for my number 2 round brush, and I'm going to paint wet on dry. Just put my blue color in there. Looks like that. And touch it up with some of that purple that I've been using all along the way. Nice. Same thing on this side. I'm drawing a few more lines there. All right, that's looking very pretty. Let's let it dry and let's move into the stem. So here's my Sap Green. I still have my number 2 brush. I think I'll try it out with this. I can always move to a larger brush as I go along. I'll start down at the base area. I am doing wet on dry, as you can see. Reaching for some blue now. Add a bit of that green in the blue. And coming up to near the top. A little bit of a darker value near the top. Nice. Blend those two together, and we'll put the darker value down in here as well. Good. Now I'm going to continue using this little brush, and I'm just wetting this entire area. Just right up here. This is where the flower bud will be. And I'll reach in for my purple. Just touch it down here. And watch how that just beautifully bleeds up into the water. I really don't need much more than that. Except that I will put some blue as well. There. Pretty. All right, I need a larger brush. I'm going to be going into my leaf. So I have my number 4 round again. And for the leaf, I think I'll do wet on wet. Wetting the entire surface of the leaf. All the way to the bottom, grabbing this pure color, Sap Green. I really like Sap Green, and just fill in an area with it. Get a little bit of the yellow, touch some yellow in there as well. Nice warm leaf. And then we want some blue, and mix that green in with the blue for a bit of a deeper color, and bring that on this side. Super. Now my brush is clean and there's not much paint on it. I'm using that to blend the colors. Just touching very little. That's all that's needed. I feel like the stem is quite a bit darker than the leaf. Touch a little more darks down below. And so which is okay. I'm going wet on dry here. And that's going to connect with the leaf. Get a bit of the yellow. Super. Bit of blue. Good. Wonderful. Now, I'm just having a look at this to decide if I want to do anything else or just to leave it as is. I like it. I feel that this is rather dark, the lines in comparison, just that they're quite dark lines. So I think what I'm going to do is one more glaze, one more layer. And so I'm coming in with a wet brush again. Just quickly going over, and then I will go back into this purple, tap it in one more time, just to deepen up the color in some areas, so that the lines won't be quite as prominent. I think I'll take a bit of that blue in there as well, bring that into some areas, giving some variation. Nice. That helps it out a little. A little of the blue in there. That's nice. All right, now I'm going to take some of that blue again. Do the same thing on this side. I'm just wetting the area. Take that blue and touch it into the tip. Just bring this down and do the same thing. A little bit of blue with that violet. There. That was quite dark, but that's okay. It's running into it, so that's nice. Good. Let's have another look now. That definitely helps. I'm going to darken up a little bit in here as well. Just getting it wet. Reaching for that straight violet. Tap that in there. Let it run down once again. Nice. And the back one, I'm grabbing a blue. I'm just going to glaze over. That's quite a lot of blue. A little more violet in there. And I'm just going to glaze over the back area. Go right into it. This is wet on dry. Just to help it recede a bit more into the background. And even right down there, I'm going to give it a real punch of that blue. Take that yellow right out. There we go. Maybe lift a bit at the top. I've got a dry brush. Just lifting a little. There we go. I like that. I think I'll call that complete. Now I want it to dry, and I'm going to sign it. Once it's dry, I'm going to erase the pencil lines, take off the tape, and then I'm going to erase, oh, take off the tape, erase the pencil lines, and then I will trim the edges. Jasmine Rumple. I'm going to turn this off now so I can heat up the edges with a blow dryer and blow dry this. All right, I have a kneadable eraser here, so I am just erasing the pencil lines now that the bookmark is dry. Good. I feel like in the center area where I was going to have it white, that white maybe isn't the best choice. I'm going to turn this into a more of a yellow right here. There we go. And now I'm going to trim these edges. And there it is, a beautiful iris bookmark. I hope you've enjoyed watching this, and hopefully you take the time to create one yourself. If you do, I would love to hear from you. If you enjoyed watching this, kindly put a like to my video. That means a lot to me. And if you want to see some more, please subscribe. I'd love to have an opportunity to share more art with you. Happy creating. All the best. Bye for now.